Tell you as well, since the last podcast we had the Mandurah CSC hosted the Perth CSC down at the good old Friar Tucks in Mandurah. It must be, what, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks ago now. But it was some laugh. It was some laugh. The Perth CSC brought down a full busload, 49-seater, down the Kwinana Freeway. So this is like your motorway. It's about an hour and a half, I would say it is, from Perth down to Friar Tucks. It's probably an hour down to Mandurah, but Friar Tucks is a good half hour onto that. So they came down. Unfortunately, it was a dry bus, but I'm pretty sure some of the boys managed to sneak something on. But they all rocked up to Friar Tucks anyway, and we had a great wee afternoon. We had a live musician on who sang a few Celtic songs and plenty of Irish songs and a few others as well. Yeah, it was just good. We just had a laugh. There was Andy Gordon, who's the president of the Perth CSC. He did a nice presentation to us, to the Mandurah CSC as well. A nice little shield, I suppose you would call it, or plaque. So that's down in Friar Tucks. But it was quite embarrassing because we didn't have anything prepared to hand back over to the Perth CSC. But as I said to Andy and the rest of the guys there, our wee club will always see Perth CSC as very much a big brother in Western Australia, that's for sure, because they've been going for donkey's years, and we're only formed a couple of years or so anyway. So we'll always look at them as our big brothers. But we had a great afternoon, and the weather was beautiful, and plenty of beer was sung, and they all went up the road happy. That was the day of the Aberdeen game, and so we got a good result at the end of that as well. The idea was that they were going to get the bus. They got the bus back up to Rosie's to watch the game, so that they could, I guess, get that feeling of you're actually going to see a Celtic game, going on the bus and having the sing song. And again, I'm sure there was a bit of baby snuck onto the bus as well. So all in all, I think everybody was there enjoyed themselves. I didn't hear any negative stuff about it anyway. I think it was all good. And I was pie-eye by the end of the night anyway, because I stayed on for the game. So we started off at 2 o'clock. No, what was it? I was down for about 12 o'clock. And that was me until midnight, because that's when the game ended up finishing or so. So it was a tidy little session, gentlemen. A tidy little session. But anyway, enough of that. So, Liam, have you got anything else you'd like to say, mate, before we wrap up?
No, not really. That's about it.
All good. Good. And again, I think we've got the Hearts game this weekend, guys. Scottish Cup, which is going to be quite a tricky fixture. So I guess I'll ask you for your predictions, Liam.
I'll say 2-0 to Celtic.
Oh, interesting. Patrick, what would you say?
I am going to tip a draw.
Oh, for crying out loud.
Just cause.
Score draw or 0-0?
Score draw, yeah. It's going to be 2 each. There you go.
Oh my God, palpitations.
Guidetti's going to score again. And Stokesy is going to score. So that's 2 each. And then I don't even know if this is actually technically right, but I'm assuming it's a replay after that. So, and then we'll bring them back to Celtic Park and we'll hump them.
All right. Well, I like the way your story ends there, I suppose. But no, I'm going to go with Liam, I must admit. I'm going to go 2-0 Celtic. And I'm going to go John Guidetti for the 2 of them.
That's too
one
easy.
of them will be one of his fantastic free kicks. So there you go. Now after 2... Is that you away on your motorbike, Liam?
No, it's some young arsehole on his bike screaming by my house, as they always do on a Friday night.
Open your window and shout out, "You arsehole," in Japanese. How would you say that anyway?
Arsehole.
I think I could even remember that.
There's a lot of words in Japanese. You just say them in a Japanese accent and they tend to understand what you mean.
Is that right?
Aye. Aye, things like seriously, if you order a pint of Guinness, you say Guinness.
Guinness.
Yeah, beer is beer.
Beer.
Yeah, because there's a lot of words that come from English that don't translate into Japanese, so they just use them. They just write them in Japanese phonetics.
All right.
And they've got this whole language called katakana, which is basically just like foreign words written in Japanese script.
What?
And the pronunciation's a bit weird, but it's basically it means a lot of time you can get away with just using English words and they know what you mean.
Yeah, Kev, it's a bit like watching Gaelic shows on BBC. You know, where they shove in "Here hugh repairs the other television," you know, that sort of stuff. So
Patrick Post is a good one.
Podrick Post, yes. Classic. Still a
Well,
classic.
this is an education. How would you say? Is it half of the world away? Podcast.
Half the world away.
Right. Half the world would be Sekai no Hanbun. Half the world. Sekai no Hanbun.
Sekai no Hanbun.
I don't know how you'd say away. I'm not sure about that context.
Well, that's your homework for the next show, Liam.
Next week, right?
That's your homework. Right, so we've done the predictions. That's all good. I don't think I've got anything else to say other than shout out to anybody that's listening to Mandra CSC. Jimmy Malk, if you're listening back to this, missed you tonight. See you over the weekend, probably. What else? Anybody in the Erngobras CSC? Oh, big day in the O'Neill household next weekend because, as you may or may not know, my beloved son, prodigal son, who's been over in Scotland for the last 3 months, returns next weekend, would you believe? 3 months, flown in just like that. So he's coming back and he'll be back with the in-laws. So we're going to have a nice family Christmas, which will be great fun. So, yeah, we might even get a guest appearance with father-in-law on a podcast over the Christmas period. We'll probably squeeze in another podcast before Christmas, would you say?
Well,
I think so.
We've got the game off against Zagreb, so maybe we try and do one after that.
Yeah, we could do a Christmas special. The Christmas special spirit.
Kev, we have to try and do a wee special as well.
Oh, that's right. Do you want to say anything about that, actually, Pat?
I guess we could. You want to do the honours?
Oh, on you go.
Just that we were approached by Joe Bloggs City on Twitter, who does work for the Celtic Wiki, who did a review for a Celtic book by a guy called Ian Gillies, and he thought it'd be a good idea. Apparently, the books. We got in touch with the guys there based in New Zealand, so we got in touch with them, and they kindly sent me and Kev a copy of the book, which is. I actually really like it. There's some really, really lovely stories in it. And
you say that as if I don't like it, Pat.
No,
I like it as well, but I've just not finished it yet.
I've got to say, I'm not a big reader, but I sort of made the effort to that, and it was absolutely spectacular. I have to say, it was some real nice stories of it. This is Ian Gillies. He played for one season in Celtic reserves, which you might think that's not a Celtic book, but no, it's a real nice book. I have to say, I was pleasantly surprised with it. So his son Angus got in touch with us, and we want to try and line up a wee sort of podcast with his dad at some stage. So apparently he's got a bit of the gift of the gab. So if anyone's sort of looking for it, well, I think just go to Celtic Wiki, you'll find it. Ian Gillies. So I can't, in truth, I can't remember the title of the book. That's how sad I am. That's how much I read. But that's Footballosophy, I think it's called. Is that right, Kev? Is that ring a bell?
Oh, that rings a bell. I'll need to check that.
Yeah, Footballosophy. It's on Amazon. You can get it on Amazon, but real nice book. Just and they come across a real sort of die-hard Celtic family and living in New Zealand now, but same as us. You kind of never lose it. But so we'll hopefully get a wee chat with those guys. If you guys are listening in, Angus, and we'll try and be in touch in the next. Maybe even next weekend if we try and sort of squeeze something in before Kev gets too busy. So
we're definitely going to try to do something. I'm just I've been quite busy the last couple of weeks, so I I've been trying to squeeze in reading it because we want to read it before we do the interview, obviously, so that we've got a good idea of some of the questions we certainly want to be trying to ask and things like that. But I'm sure, as you said, I think Ian, by all accounts, has got the gift of the gab anyway, so we probably won't have to say much at all, Pat. We'll just do all the talking anyway. But the idea would be that it's definitely going to be recorded and stuff like that, and we'll just put it out. So we'll squeeze it in at some point, and then we'll put it out there, and hopefully people enjoy it.
On the off chance someone, people like sort of reading Celtic books, I say if you go to Amazon.com and just do you can get it on sort of Kindle version and all that sort of stuff. So yeah. I'm fairly certain it's called Footballosophy. Ian Gillies is so Angus Gillies, I think, will be the author. So it's about Ian Gillies, his father, and it's a real pleasant read, I have to say. They've got some of the stories about where they came from and their background and how they ended up in New Zealand and how he ended up playing for Celtic and stuff. It's just it's a real nice read. That's very I'd certainly recommend it to anybody who likes reading Celtic books. Not necessarily all Celtic stuff, but my God, some of the stories these guys had, and the injuries they had and where they came from, and
and it is a bit different as well, isn't it, Pat? That's the good thing about it, because again, you get all these books that are written by legends and stuff like that we all know and we've all heard of and things like that as well. But this is certainly just a little bit different because it's a guy that was just genuinely a gifted player in his youth, and he was lucky enough to nearly make it at Celtic, but he still remembers his time with Celtic fondly in it and stuff like that. But he never quite made it into the first team, I believe.
It's weird that one of the bits I love about it, and I admire people that can do this, is that he remembers the names of guys he played against and guys he played with. Yeah. From it could be it'd be 50 years ago, 60 years ago.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's just that some of the names, I don't know. I find it really kind of.
It's definitely a wee bit different anyway, isn't it?
Absolutely. Yep. I'd recommend it. So if anyone's got some time, you'd read it over a weekend. It's certainly not a hard read, and and there's a little sort of snippets in there from his son Angus as well. Like I think he did some journalist work in New Zealand as well. So little articles from him. But yep, if you have time, go and have a look for it on Amazon or wherever. Get the Kindle version if you've got a Kindle. I'm sure there's other sort of hard copies you can get, but yeah, very good read at all. So we'll try and get that sorted out for the next sort of couple of weeks. We'll have a chat to Ian and Angus and get them
on and get it out there.
Yep. Now I've got a couple of little things that I won't sort of spend too much time on it, but this is something that got brought to my attention. I think it was last weekend. So I've got a relative who works for Victoria Police, so the police force in sort of Victoria's a state where Melbourne is. So he works for Victoria Police, and he was telling me a story about a flare that got thrown at the Melbourne Victory Brisbane game. I think it was last weekend. And he was telling me this, and I just wanted to sort of raise it that these people who think flares are just a bit of fun. Now he sent me the article on this sort of later last weekend. I think it was last Sunday. I think he sent it to me. But essentially it was telling the story about this article, but basically a girl, a 12-year-old girl that got hurt. A 12-year-old girl boy. I can't remember now exactly the details of it, but basically a 12-year-old boy get these massive burns because these sort of teenage boys thought it'd be really smart to throw a flare at the game and stuff like that. And it wasn't just them doing it, but they thought it was really smart. So I was chatting to him about it, and he says they reckoned there was something like a 30-centimetre blister on the boy's back by being hit by a flare. And another, I think a woman who was sitting next to him, I think she was older, I think she was like a 20, 22-year-old, get the same sort of thing. She got burnt on her leg or something like that as well. So just again a bit of warning to people out there who think flares are just a bit of fun. Like, well, they're a bit of fun as long as they don't hit somebody. And this was all very innocent. They're just supporters. Try to get in the spirit and that sort of stuff. I just thought it was a real sad story. So that sort of raised that accidents do harm. And basically that kid will be impacted for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
Because because he'll be scarred. You're talking these things burn at like 1,000 degrees. So poor little boy is going to be scarred for the rest of his life just because a couple of teenage boys wanted to take a flare to the football. You know what I mean? So I thought that was really a bit of a sad story, a bit of an eye opener for some people hopefully, but real kind of sad story. We're here, but again, it wouldn't even make the press. It's one of those ones. It's just like it happens at a game and it's brushed under the carpet and nobody knows about it. So
Don't mess with flares is the message. Either the fiery ones or the bell bottoms.
The bell bottoms, yep, exactly. More importantly, the bell bottoms. Yep.
Don't mess with flares.
And this one's not really an announcement, Kev, but just